I'm pretty sore at the moment. I got a deal to try out F45. If you haven't heard of it, it's that high-intensity interval training. I thought it would be a really good complement to my high-intensity interval eating, so I thought, let's give this a crack. But when I went in, I think the guy could tell I wasn't really the gym type. I got a very tailored sales pitch. He said, "You know what, Becky?" Just went straight in for a nickname. "When I started this place, I wanted to create a space without the big, tough muscle dickheads, you know? Open a library." It would be remiss of me not to acknowledge that academia and exercise are not mutually exclusive. But from a pure data analytics perspective, trying to create a dickhead-free space by opening a franchise operated by retired rugby league players, that's statistically risky. Then he led me out onto the floor. There's all these bros with their muscles and their singlets, looking like the kind of dudes who take pre-workout before a wank. And they're all called Jake. Where did all the Jakes come from? I'd never met a single Jake before interval training was invented, and now every gym has enough to start differentiating by a second initial. It's like all the Jakes have just been in a chrysalis, waiting for the right opportunity to come along. And then F45's invented, and whooshka. All right, legends, 35 seconds on, 10 seconds rest. We're going to start down here with some Turkish get-ups and then move on back here and do some Russian twists. But none of this, yeah? Keep the core on. Then we're going to come down here and do some Romanian deadlifts and finish off down here with the Cuban Missile Crisis. Keep that pressure on, yeah? It's like some loose unit entrepreneur has taken an atlas and a copy of Men's Health and just rubbed them together and hoped for the best. And they should be naming these exercises after things that are more familiar to the rugby clientele anyway, you know? Like Station 1, we've got facing the judiciary for lewd acts. Station 2, we've got a reverse suspension into a boys will be boys. And those guys, they're just pissing into their own mouths, so... Yeah, I realise a lot of you might not be familiar with local hero Todd Carney, who was caught in a nightclub urinating into his own mouth. It's called bubbling. Get on board. I'm very sorry your football degenerates are so progressive. I'm just going to piss here in this urinal. Grow up. You've got a perfectly good mouth for that. Ultimately, we're all at the gym for the same reason, though, aren't we? We're all there to endear ourselves to a sexual partner. But I couldn't date any of these guys, you know? I couldn't date anyone who would consider my puss a cheat meal. I don't want to be up late madly Googling will pussy break ketosis, you know? Life's too short. I do look around sometimes at my generation and just think, we're fucked. But it's not all our fault. You know, the world's going mad. We're all too busy to do anything about it. I look back now on the achievements of history and just think, Einstein must have worked from home heaps. I've been so flat out lately, I've double-parked tampons. There's just no deep belly breathing your way out of that, I can assure you. But we've got these productivity gurus trying to help us out, saying things like we all have the same amount of hours in our day. You have the same amount of hours in your day as Beyonce. Sure. That's how time works. But Beyonce's not under the same pressure as us, is she? When's the last time Beyonce had to hand scrub skitties in her bathroom sink? Definitely not since Destiny's Child. We're doing it tough. I do think we've been a little bit too tough on men, though. It's been a real tough time for men. I had this realisation when I was at the chiropractor, and after he charged me $120 for an assessment, all he said was that I need to stick my chest out more when I walk. I just thought, oh, for all these years, men yelling at me from passing cars were just trying to hand out free postural advice. We've got to listen, ladies. They're trying to help us out, you know? Show us your tits is not offensive. It's preventative healthcare. I'd love to have a shred of the confidence that it takes to yell something like that out of a car. You know, that is sorting high to low on ASOS level confidence, isn't it? But it's not all men who are doing this, and they'll be the first to tell you that on any comment thread on the internet. Of course, bro, not all men. But based on this incredibly aggressive, unsolicited online confrontation, probably you. I heard this swooshing noise while I was replying to this guy, and I thought it was my laptop. But I checked it out and nothing was wrong, and then I stood really still and listened. And I realised, oh, that's the sound of my fallopian tubes tying themselves. Wow. Isn't evolution amazing? My boss has been doing it tough at the moment too. He's been trying to keep morale up amongst a spate of redundancies. And he's been trying out all these activities and no one's interested. Last year he tried to get us to do a sweep in the horse racing and no one was keen. I felt kind of sorry for him. So I thought we'll do our own sweep. I printed out photos of everyone in the office, put us all into a little bowl and we all picked someone out. Now we just have to wait and see who gets the next redundancy. Someone's going home with a hamper, someone's kids aren't going to Disneyland. Woo! Then we poured ourselves a glass of yellow and filed into the boardroom to watch the real race unfold. It's a beautiful day for it. The race that stops a nation. The Crow's Nest Regional Office Redundancy Cup. Janet from Accounts is playing up in the barriers. And what do you know it? Alan, the IT lead, has made it to the start after having every Monday off for the last financial quarter. It's a miracle. They're all in. The lights are on. Set. Racing in the Crow's Nest Regional Office Redundancy Cup. Carmel from Comms has started strong, closely followed by as per my last email. Do you have 5 for a quick chat? And Kathleen, what do you even do? They round the first corner and who called the unions coming down the outside, buffeted by Kira Lee, the intern. Mansplain Mark is midfield on the rails just behind not before I've had my coffee and that's not in my job description. Coming down the straight is unsolicited neck massage, unmet KPI and a length off some prick ate my sandwich. Just a quick one for you's going steady. Peter from Risk is yelling but nobody's listening. Half ahead to for God's sake Rob wipe out the microwave. Oh, we've had a fall. It's Kira Lee the intern. Kira Lee the intern's broken down at the 6:50 and Neil says millennials just can't hack it in the workplace after all. Deborah the gender and diversity lead is going strong, having a renaissance in relevance after some dodgy comments were made at the Christmas party. Janet from Accounts hasn't wasted energy on a single smile as they head for home and who called the unions out in front of Carmel from Comms an awkward birthday song. But here comes accidental reply all. Accidental reply all, challenged by which prick left tuner in the lunchroom. 3:50 to go in the Crow's Nest Regional Office Redundancy Cup and it's all who called the union. Who called the union half ahead to Kathleen, what do you even do? Carmel from Comms and get fucked at Smoko, but who's this coming down the outside? It's the favourite. Reg from Operations is flying down the outside. He's not going anywhere. He plays tennis with the chairman. He's utterly useless and he's here to stay. It's Reg taking out the Crow's Nest Regional Office Redundancy Cup. Half ahead to We Can't Fire the CEO and a photo for third between should have stayed in uni and I'm useless, but the director is my uncle. Thanks, guys. I lost my job, but I did win a hamper. Thanks, I'm Bec Melrose.